Last Thursday, I walked down to Boston City Hall where I promptly made my way to the elections department, walked up to the counter. I asked for a statement of candidacy papers. What are you running for? They asked. City Council. And then, don't worry, I'm not that serious. Two elections department workers, a little timidly, came over to me at the counter and asked me to fill out a very short form. Put my name and number and an address. Now, I put my number down, but then he said, everything you submit is a matter of public record. Somehow I hadn't considered that. He also said I can always contact them later to put my other information down. I said, okay, works for me. I left my number, though, but I also called back later and changed it. Then they brought up that by law, all names on Boston voting forms were required to be translated into Chinese characters. And they gave me a little piece of paper that explains it. And they asked me if I needed it translated, and I said, sure, why not? And as I signed the form, I felt the need to justify myself, and I said something like, I'm just doing this to find out more about how city councilors run for office. They pointed out a few dates to me of important election timeline stuff. They also gave me a rundown of all the districts and wards in Boston, which was, really kind of nice information. They also gave me this campaign finance reporting pamphlet, which, as a unfinanced campaign, I currently do not need to use. But I read through it. It was very interesting. And then they simply said, good luck. I was immediately overcome by a suffocating sense of dread. What had I done? Was my phone number now a matter of public record? Am I suddenly going to become a way too public figure? Why the hell am I doing this to myself? And so I come, dear viewer, to you. To everyone I know, everyone I don't know, and why I would decide to take such a random action as running for Boston City Council with no campaign infrastructure, no real idea of how to run a campaign at the ripe old age of 23 years. And as I sat and contemplated my life choices, I knew I had to come up with some sort of reason for what I had just done. I'm a resident of upstate New York originally, and I was raised in a middle-class family, and I came out to Boston to study at Northeastern University because they were the university that gave me the most money. And now, after graduating, I live and work here in Boston full-time. I've recently come to believe that immediate action is necessary at all levels of government to prepare us for what's looking like an increasingly uncertain future. But all around, I see legislators who seem unable to meet the moment. I want to be real with you all that my goal is not to become a member of Boston City Council. But what I am interested in is engaging with the citizens of Boston, especially those who have lived here a long time, and learn more about the things that matter to you. It should be a lot easier to talk to people, even random people, about politics. After all, government is about compromise. And if you can't talk, how can you compromise? But it's not just talking to people about politics, it's talking to our elected officials. Every day, actions are taken, especially at the local level, which most of the residents of Boston have absolutely no idea about. Your money goes to fund housing, infrastructure, schools, public services, the list goes on. But you may not know how that money is spent, or why it's spent, or what strategies we can use to more effectively spend what we have. What policies are our politicians enacting which are really harming us and our city? What policies can we be enacting to protect ourselves and better our city. Politicians prefer to work behind the scenes. The less you understand about what they're doing, our political system, how we got here, the more power corrupt people have. And the more power corrupt people have, well, we're seeing where that leads. Because we need to stop collectively looking for someone else to save us. I want to show, using myself as an example, that anyone can run for office, that anyone can spread an idea, that anyone can join a campaign, that anyone can call and email their legislator, that anyone can reach out and contact another person, that you can contact these people. I haven't lived here all my life. I don't know everything about the issues facing Boston, but somewhere out there is someone who knows a lot more than I do. Somebody who thinks they're not good enough, not smart enough, not confident enough to take on a campaign. Somebody who thinks city council doesn't matter, that it's an insignificant body, that the real power is somewhere else. Well, city council spends billions of dollars a year. City council makes ordinances that can force this city's civil servants to work towards completely different goals and build new institutions. You have the power to change the world the way you see it every day of your life. It's not just for the wealthy, the white, the manly, the tall, the well-educated, all of those fears you have, no matter what they are. It's for you. I admit that I'm an incredibly naive person who's in way deep over his head. Feasibility was never a planning element in my decision to run, and it never will be. But my decision to run for city council at large was an attempt to go for something grounded, something available to almost anyone, something local. The only requirement to run is that you're older than 18 years old and that you are a resident, citizen, registered voter in Boston. And all you need is to know a little bit about the city, and you're well on your way. I don't think it's an easy job to be city councilor. In fact, I'm sure it isn't. But there's a reason that almost anyone can run. Because inside of all of us is a particular perspective which is worthwhile and essential to bring to the table. I think I've told you pretty well why I'm here and who I'm trying to inspire. Now it's time for the how. On April 30th, I will go to City Hall and pick up nomination papers. Because of the requirements that our city government maintains, I will need to collect 1,500 physical signatures of registered Boston voters to even get on the ballot. That means I need to be out on the street collecting signatures as soon as I possibly can. Stay tuned for the next video, where I'll come up with a strategy to collect those signatures, and we'll see how well it goes. A campaign also needs policy ideas. Stay tuned for a video where I'm going to research the issues that currently face Boston, speak with residents, and develop an opinion of my own on as many of them as possible. There's a bit more to the how that you can help out with too. If you go to https, you know the drill, www.sec.ma.us/OVR, you can register to vote. If you're a U.S. citizen living in Boston, it doesn't matter for how long, you have a right to vote in this city. If you have a Massachusetts state ID already, it's as easy as registering online. If not, you'll need to mail your registration, or you can bring it in person to the Elections Department at Boston City Hall, Green Line Government Center, Orange Line State. It's right there. If you have any questions about any of that, feel free to reach out to kelsoforcitycouncil@gmail.com, and our campaign team will be happy to help you out. Thank you, and have a good night.